Sponsors real fast. Well, we have Erwin Loring here today, but first things first, you got to pay the piper. Jeffrey Peterson, the 420 comic, and Kevin Davis, the Marine of Comedy. Go look at my last post and buy some merch because they're helping to sponsor this interview. Thank you so much, Jeffrey Peterson and Kevin Davis. Now, for the main topic today, look who's here from the East Coast. He's all dressed up in his best t-shirt. It's what's that?
My Marvin the Martian.
Marvin the Martian. We have Erwin Loring here today with his fishing pole in the background. Is that a fishing pole, Erwin?
Actually, no, that is an exercise climber.
Oh, whoa. Can you talk just a little louder?
Yeah, no, that's an exercise climber. It's something you kind of pretend you're climbing up. I don't know how to explain it.
Wow. So, how long have you been doing exercise climbing, Erwin?
Oh, that's my wife does that. I'm more of a treadmill person.
Are you? How far do you go on a treadmill? Sorry, I keep talking over you. How far do you go on a treadmill?
Generally about an hour.
Wow. What pace?
Just under 4 miles an hour.
What?
Go all that fast.
Holy Toledo. Have you dropped weight with that?
Yeah. No, over the last 6 months or so, a year, I'm probably down to 70 pounds.
Holy Toledo, Erwin. Congrats. Hey, Erwin, you're on the East Coast.
Yes, I'm on the East Coast, so it's around 1 o'clock here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the East Coast. You want to fill us in? Because a lot of people out here have conspiracy theorists like the landing on the moon.
What do you mean by a lot going out here? It's just
People.
We're all living in our homes. We're literally staying home.
Yes, we're trying to do that here, but people here aren't as nearly as affected as on the East Coast. Have you had family, loved ones pass away and deal with the virus?
Well, I mean, we're dealing with it like anybody else. I mean, right now, what we're trying to do is, we're doing the social distancing. We're staying home. The whole family's here. I mean, I have one son who's out in Colorado. He's been staying as much praying as he can. But no, we're staying home. We're social distancing. We're doing all the things you're supposed to do. I mean, Maryland's gotten a lot of cases, and the county we're in's gotten a few, but New York is the one that's affected the most on the east. New York's gotten pounded.
I know it. Oh my gosh. But you haven't had any loved ones get the virus or pass away, or friends?
No, everybody's doing what they can right now.
Great. One day, a couple weeks ago, I lost 5 comedy friends in one day.
Well, that's sad to hear.
It is. But on to the funny stuff. Erwin, I interviewed you a while ago at Harvey's in Portland. Thank you for that. Now's my chance to get you all to myself because Tommy Lama isn't here. So I get you all to myself. Erwin, take us through the trajectory of your life. Like, where were you born and raised? What made you funny? When did you know you were funny? Why in the hell did you do comedy?
Okay, I don't know where to start with that question, but no, I've been a stand-up comic for about 10, 12 years, give or take. I mean, heck, I got the bug when I was a teenager. I just didn't get started until I was in my 40s. Not much you can. I guess life gets in the way. I wasn't expecting to do it, and then my current wife, she kind of pushed me and said, "Why don't you try?" And it's kind of all history from there. But yeah, I mean, I've been lucky overall. I mean, I've gotten to work with a lot of great people, and generally I stay pretty well booked, so I've gotten lucky on that.
That's great. Where all has your comedy taken you to?
Well, Portland.
Yep.
I've been to Portland. I've been to Colorado. I go to Florida quite a bit. Before this all happened, I had a couple dates out in the Midwest that obviously got suspended due to the current pandemic, but it was growing. You know, it continues to grow.
Yes. Yes. I love your comedy. How will you describe your style of comedy for people who have never seen it before?
Most people would describe it as an observational comic, you know, taking things you see, things that happen, and just turning it. I mean, probably one of the more common forms of comedy is observational. There's, you know, you get your observational comics, and then you've got your storytellers. I'm not much of a storyteller. All my stuff is you know, quick jokes. A lot of it is just about things relating to my family and relationships.
I love that. I enjoy your comedy very much. And I was wondering, do you consider yourself to kind of be a dry comic, a comic with a dry sense of humor? No?
I don't think so. I mean, a dry comic is more that Stephen Wright, guys like that, where they're just. I have a little more activity on stage. I mean, I'm not I don't jump through hoops or do magic or any of that stuff, but I tend to interact with the audience. I'm not one of those guys who goes into the audience, goes after people, but I try to engage them within the stories or within the jokes I'm telling.
I think it's really cool that your wife is the one that was instrumental in a catalyst to getting you to do comedy. I don't hear that very often.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we were, she's my second, I was divorced, we were dating, and one day she said, is there anything you always wanted to do? I said, I've always wanted to be a stand-up comic. She said, well, why haven't you tried? And that was probably the first time I've heard that. The first time I was married, I never heard that. I heard more of but you're not funny. So this one, with my wife, Cortland, she just was like, yeah, try it, see what happens. And I thought it would last about 3 times on stage and I'd run away screaming, but here I am, probably on stage well over 1,000 times. So.
Wow. 1,000 times, how many years has that been?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. When I first got on stage, it was late in 2006. In 2007, I probably only got on stage 25 to 30 times until about 2010, when it really started to become more important because, I actually had lost my day job. And when I lost my day job, I was like, oh, shoot, I need something to make money. So I started pushing comedy a lot harder. And then over the last 5 years or so, I've been on the road almost, about half a year.
Wow. Who are some of the people that you've done comedy with besides Tommy Savitt?
It depends. I mean, from a standpoint of people would know. I mean, I've worked with Dustin Diamond quite a bit.
Yeah.
Worked with Jimmy Walker, Kevin Farley.
Whoa.
Known people. Those are the known people. I mean, they're old school guys, but they're known. Then there's, some of the people you probably wouldn't know. I mean, who are great are guys like Kelly Terranova.
Who? I'm sorry.
Kelly Terranova, Chris Monty. These are guys. Kelly's been in it 20 plus years. He's an East Coast. He's a cruise ship guy. Chris Monty's been on a few TV shows.
I know Chris.
Yeah, he's real well known on the East. But lots of the more the road dogs.
Yeah.
So not everybody knows them. I mean, the Ron Feingolds of the world.
Yep.
Ron's great.
Yep.
I work with Ron a lot.
Awesome. So, have you ever worked with Mike Fine? I hear he's a wonderful guy to work with. No? So tell us, who are not comics out here and who are, tell everybody what you find unique about doing road comedy versus being in a city doing comedy in clubs around your area. Because some people aren't road comics, don't want to be, or don't know if they should be. What do you have to say about the differences?
The difference between being a road comic and working
yeah. You're the only one that gets to answer this question.
The best way to look at it is that in comedy, it's a growth process. You start out doing the open mics in your own market. You might start getting paid small amounts in some of the small feature shows that happen in your market. Depending on the city you're in, like if you're in New York City, there's a lot of clubs that, you get 10 and 12-minute sets, you get paid like $25. When you start getting on the road, that's when you start doing the long form. That's when you start doing your 30-minute sets, your 45-minute sets. Whereas, a lot of the time when you're working in your local clubs, you're probably doing 10-minute sets, 5-minute sets, mostly open mics. When you get on the road, that's when you start getting you start getting the shock of how do you stay on stage for 30 minutes and keep people laughing.
Yes. So what is the secret to doing a long set, which takes time to build, and keeping people laughing the whole time? How, in a nutshell, what was your secret to that?
My secret was don't rush yourself to being that person. A lot of comics, they build their set to think that they have more minutes, and then when they start going on the road, they realize they don't. I think it's about really developing your set really well before you start trying to move up in the comedy world. Some people try to do it too quickly and they fail. Some people, it's not a short game. Comedy is not a short game.
They say that you don't even find your voice till at least 5 years in, maybe sometimes 10.
Sometimes. Your character continually develops. If you think of yourself as a character when you're on stage, don't think of yourself as yourself. Think of yourself as a character. What are you trying to present to the people? And sometimes that character, not sometimes, the character has to be believable. I mean, if I got on stage and started talking about being a gigolo, I'm a large man. I look like I'm somebody's dad. You don't expect me to talk about, sewing my wild oats. But you expect it, if I talk about I'm married and I have kids, it's believable, the character is believable, and then you can develop that character. So I think it's important to develop a character that is someone people will believe you can be.
Yes. Can you speak to authenticity on stage? Like really being authentically in the moment, authentically connected to what you're saying? Like you spoke a little about who you are on stage as a character persona or whatever, but maybe a little deeper there, because that's important too.
Well, your persona is everything. There's an old saying, it says perception is reality. You can't hear me?
Yeah, I need it louder, please. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, well, when you think about it, perception is reality. People, if you go up there and you're on stage developing that character and you're trying to be someone, you want the people to believe that character. You want to be authentic in what you're telling. No one wants to just see you tell jokes that you made up. They want to feel like you've lived that experience. So it's important. It's like being an actor. You have to make sure you are portraying what you're putting out there. Does that make sense?
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a portrayal of who you are.
It's so distracting to watch a comic talk about things you don't think they've ever experienced or feel.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Have you ever watched a comic that's talking about things and they're not even feeling it, never felt it, never went through it? It's just stuff they wrote.
Oh, you see it more on the open mic scale because once you get into the professional comics, they're developing a character. The road comics have developed a character. They're aware of what they need to be. When you see a lot of the open micers, they're still learning. So it's important to listen. It's important to learn from the other comics that do the job. Some of the new comics don't take that time. And so they just sit down and they go, and write these random jokes that are all over the place. And they don't create a character. And a lot of the time the audience can't follow.
Yes. I find that to be the case a lot with people who do one-liners. They're just doing one-liners and you're going all over the map and I'm supposed to follow you. It's like tie it in with a persona or character or your history. Start off about your life is crazy in one line. Like Adam Hunter, he does a great job of one-liners about his life.
Well, a great example of creating a character behind the one-liner is Stephen Wright and Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, Stephen Wright really doesn't develop a character on stage, but he's got a character within the one-liner. So his jokes are very random, but it's supposed to be. Rodney Dangerfield, same thing. It's that no respect. You know, I get no respect. You know, it's creating a character. If Rodney Dangerfield went on stage wearing a pair of chinos and a button-down shirt and just started telling those jokes standing still, it wouldn't get the same reaction as it does with the whole, you know, he looks like he's drank too many cups of coffee character.
Wow. Okay, so there's a person on here who will go nameless asking a question. She wants to know, ask him about a comedian he saw in college that impressed him and his style.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't make any, I even talk about it on stage. I mean, I'm a huge fan of David Brenner.
Me too.
You know, I love his observational approach to comedy, the way he would look at everything, even the most mundane things, and he would create a joke out of it. I mean, something as simple as the line that he said when I was 16 years old. I saw him on a HBO special, and that's what inspired me to want to be a comic. Is he said the line, "Why is it hot dogs come in packages of 10 hot dog rolls come in packages of 8?" That was how you got to do math, you know.
Hysterical.
It was silly, but it made me laugh.
Yes. I want to tell you about my encounter with David Brenner. May I do that real quick on your interview time?
It's your show.
So I was at the Golden Nugget in Vegas like 20 some years ago at the VIP counter looking at a TV VCR combo of David Brenner in the room doing comedy, right? And I watched it over and over, and all of a sudden somebody tapped me on the shoulder and asked me how I liked the guy on the screen, and it was David Brenner.
Yeah.
He'd been watching me, Erwin, watching him.
That's funny.
Okay, back to you. So, huh?
I said, that's funny.
It is. That shows how he's just a magical guy. I adore him. I'm so glad that you had a connection with him in college. He could stand on stage and have Post-it notes in the newspaper and keep people interested for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean, another guy who did that too was Larry King. Not Larry King. Oh, jeez. I messed up that.
Alan King?
Alan King. I'm sorry. Alan King used to read the obituary. Wasn't he the one that read the obituary?
Yep. Remember Alan King with the map?
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. That's the thing in comedy is you develop a character, people will remember it.
Yes.
Everyone remembers the comics that had great characters.
Yes. So, was David Brenner the one that really influenced your comedy the most in your life, or have there just been a ton of them, too many to list, or somebody else even more?
David Brenner, the George Carlins, the Rodney Dangerfields. I mean, those are who I grew up with. But you know, Brenner was the first one I ever saw. I mean, I was 16, and it was the first, you know, comedy show I'd ever seen on TV, and that's what started it. But I mean, you know, if you were to describe my style, it's got a little bit of Brenner, a little bit of Carlin, and you know, throw that stuff in, and little Don Rickles at times.
I love Don Rickles. Oh my God. Yeah, that's why I like your comedy. And when you break it down to who it is, were your influences, then I can understand why I like it so much. All I know when I'm watching it is I like this guy. I like this comedy. But now you've helped me understand why.
Yeah.
So
well, it was fun. It was fun going to Harvey's because it was my first time on the West Coast in a club that was a full comedy club. I mean, I had done a bunch of road work on the West Coast with other in casinos and stuff, but it was interesting to see, you know, how would my East Coast style translate to Harvey's, but it seemed to get a pretty good reception. So.
It did. You were just as funny as the headliner that night.
Don't tell Tommy that.
I won't. He never pays attention to what I'm doing. He will never find out.
No, I love
I adore him. He's something else. When I was interviewing him that night, he wouldn't come out of the Tommy Llama character. And I was like, I couldn't get on board. I'm like, I want to talk to you. And like, then I decided what's that?
Hadn't we just done a show, or we were about to do a show, and it'd already been an interesting couple days?
Yes, I bet. Portland can be an interesting couple of days. That's really all it should be. Yeah. I love.
I had fun in Portland.
Yeah, it's a fun place. Fun place. There's a lot to.
It was the first time I ever had a person when I was selling my shirts. I don't know if you were there when the woman came out. The woman came out and bought a shirt from me, and she was asking me for the smallest one I had. She said that she didn't care about how it fit on the bottom because she was going to cut it into a crop top. And I asked her why, and she said she's a stripper at the local strip club, and she was going to wear it on stage. And I wasn't ready for that, so the only thing I could think of to say to her was, can you do me a favor and at least leave my website on there? Don't cut that off. Like, it'll be good advertising because everybody's going to be looking, you know?
That's funny. What did your T-shirt say?
It says Boober. You've heard the B-U-B-E-R. It's a whole play on Uber and Uber.
Yes. I did. What?
For a stripper, apparently. Perfect for a stripper, apparently.
Totally. So do you, the pandemic came and shut down comedy because we're not considered essential. So have you been on these Zoom shows?
No, it's not my style. I mean, I'm one of those people. I'm doing this to make people laugh and see them laugh. It's hard for me to just, I mean, I'm trying to do some of the interview stuff and some of the more of the improvising stuff that's not directly stand up. I mean, it's just not my style.
Yeah, I get it. So where you live in Maryland, right?
Yes.
How soon are they planning on reopening your area?
Oh, I don't know. Right now, I think we're still on shutdown till June. So we're another month at least, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I know that everybody's chomping at the bit to at least open some stuff up, but I don't think you're going to, I mean, if anything, you're only going to see some of the other shops. So I don't think you're going to see, I think we're months away from really fully opening anything. I mean, and entertainment's going to still take a hit probably through the end of the year.
I think so. So did you have a lot of gigs lined up that got canceled on you?
My entire March, April, and May were full. Well, May wasn't full. I was going to go on vacation. My wife and I were going to go to Europe in May.
Ugh.
That had to be canceled.
Oh my gosh.
So I had a full March, a full April, half of May, and then half of it was going to be in Europe, and then I had a pretty well built June. So looks like, and now you can't even send out avails because nobody knows when it's going to start, how it's going to start, or what it's going to look like.
Yes. Well, some of the comics are allowing me to post their Cash App or Venmo if people are so inclined. And then other people are like, no thanks, I'll make it through this on my own. Which bucket do you fall into?
Let the people that do comedy full-time be worried about it. I'm not a full-time. I mean, even though I do full-time comedy work, I don't do road full-time. I have a full-time day job. I'm still essential personnel in the job I do.
What do you do?
I'm a commercial loan officer. So right now I'm working a lot with all the SBA loans, trying to get people the payroll relief for the businesses and stuff. So I'm actually really busy.
Wow. Well, our time is getting near being up. You've been amazing to let me talk to you. But I was wondering, do you want to say anything funny and make me laugh? Or do you want to say a joke, a bit, some comedy observations about the pandemic or life like this? Anything?
You know what? The only thing I'll tell you is that the only thing we're continuing to do in our entertainment is we're continuing to do our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I do a podcast with combined three other people. I do a podcast, and it's called Stories and Stogies, where we interview different comics or different people in different realms of not even just entertainment. I mean, we interviewed a male stripper, we interviewed a guy in a band, we just recently interviewed Stephen Michael Quezada from Breaking Bad, and that's all out on all the platforms. It's called Stories and Stogies. It's kind of a lot of fun, and we're still doing it even remotely. So we have our setups in our house, and we're continuing to try. We're trying to stay away from the whole pandemic. I think everybody's talking about that. I think for me, our job as entertainers is, if anything, is to stay away from what's going on and talk about the same stuff we would talk about if we were on stage or in life, and make people feel like they can escape the pandemic.
Totally. There's two kinds of comics out there. They've been telling me, yes, they are definitely going to talk about the pandemic, and those like you that, no, I want to entertain people and make them forget.
Yeah, I mean, that's our goal. And if you listen to in the Stephen Michael Quezada interview, we do talk about the pandemic because he talks about it, but that in most of our interviews, we're not even talking about, other than just bringing up what's going on. I mean, if you look, I don't know if you remember, but I generally am a clean-shaven person right now. I've got this nice gray beard going.
It is nice. So what?
For me, I've never kept that way.
If people want to listen to your podcast live, is that possible, or do they listen to it on a platform after the fact?
It's an after the fact thing. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. It's on all the platforms. It's
Cool.
Actually a pretty well listened podcast.
And it's called Stories and Stogies.
Yep. Normally we do it in a cigar lounge, and we sit around and smoke cigars, drink some whiskey, and tell stories with interview guests. It's all interview based. We try to do things about the person behind the personality, not just everything. So we asked, like we did one with Kevin Farley, and we found out Kevin Farley was in a boy band.
That's so cool. Yeah, I like getting to talk to comics and getting behind the mask and finding out, like, my last question for you would be, what is it that you're most passionate about? Like, if somebody handed you $1 million and said the pandemic is over, where would you go in the world, and who would you want to bless and make laugh?
I don't know that's. I just like to make people laugh. I don't care who it is. You can put 5 people in front of me in a grocery store, and I want to make them laugh.
Me too.
I think laughter is what life is about. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and if anything, if I can make someone laugh, I'm happy. It's
totally. You have a great heart for people, and that comes through when you're on stage, Erwin.
Yeah, I look forward to when we get back on stage and get people laughing and forgetting about all the garbage we're going through right now. And honestly, I think people are doing a great job getting through it overall.
I do too. At first, I was really concerned about people making it through this.
Yeah.
But they're showing a lot of tenacity.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of interesting things. A lot of this whole Zoom meeting thing has been interesting for people. I think that, when I walk, I still see people walking outside with their dogs and taking walks, and they're staying away from each other. But some, it's really cute. There's these kids down the street that don't get to play, and so they're sitting on chairs on opposite sides of the streets and just dancing and having fun. So people are trying. It's all you can do.
Yes. Well, I want to thank.
I feel.
Go ahead.
I really feel for these people though that are working. I think we talk a lot about the people in the healthcare industry, which they're just doing absolutely great things and trying to keep everything going. But I think a lot has to be said for some of these people working in the grocery stores or the pharmacies who they didn't sign up for this, and they're now suddenly being asked to monitor people, and they have to stand at the front door of a grocery store and monitor how many people go in and make sure people have masks on. This isn't what they signed up for. So I think anybody who's working today deserves a lot of credit and needs to be taken care of. So.
Yes, thank you so much. You're very wise, and I love all the input you had about advice and tips on being a road comic. And I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for the interview time. And I'm going to your podcast to look up a bunch of different ones and listen and see if I can get any tips on interviewing. The podcast on all platforms for Erwin Loring is Stories and Stogies.
And share it. Tell people about it. It's a fun podcast.
I'll share it and I'll subscribe. Is it on YouTube?
No, we haven't done anything like that yet. We're actually, we were getting ready to start a whole YouTube thing, but doing it when you were all separated. There's 4 of us, and we're all in different places, so
Yeah.
try to do YouTube would be difficult.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much. Have a great day giving out business loans. I'm sure you're happy when you get one approved and sad when you get one declined.
Well, right now I'm just trying to take care of all these the SBA governmental relief loans that they gave all the money to. I'm trying to get those out.
Well, you're a hero. Thank you for doing that.
All right. Well, you have a great day.
Thank you, Erwin. Love you lots.